Hi, friends. I'm Lori Palau, host of the popular weekly podcast, This Organized Life, founder of Simply Be Organized, and author of the book, Hot Mess, A Practical Guide to Getting Organized. For the past 7 years, we've been sharing stories, interviews, and strategies to help you live a more organized life. Whether you're struggling with physical clutter, calendar clutter, digital clutter, or just overwhelmed with the mental load of all the things, we're here to help you every step of the way. We know that one of the biggest struggles many of us face is time, and even finding the time to listen to a 45-minute long episode might not even be doable, which is why we've created this Organized Life Tip of the Week. These short episodes are designed to give you a little boost to start your week off on the right foot in under 15 minutes. This might be something that I'm doing in my personal life that I wanted to share, a tip that someone shared with me that I want to pass along to you, or maybe it might just be a prompt or story to help you think differently about the true meaning of clutter. New episodes of our Tip of the Week are automatically going to show up in your podcast feed on Mondays, and our regular long-form episodes will continue to drop each and every Thursday. Now, if you're new here, make sure to click the subscribe or follow button for instant access to all of our 300 plus past episodes. And if you're already subscribed to TOL, there's nothing that you need to do. Our bonus episodes should already be in your feed. Regardless of whether you just found us or you're one of our OG listeners, I am so happy that you're here. Now, let's get to it. Hey, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Tip of the Week from This Organized Life podcast. I am your host, Lori Palau, and I'm so glad that you're joining me. It is September, and for many of us, this means we are shifting gears into the new year. I'm air quoting of the school year, or back into a more scheduled work mode for many of us. And I'm excited. I always like to think of the fall as a reset time for myself, personally, professionally, all the things. And so I'm hoping if you're brand new here and you just stumbled across us, that you will click that follow or subscribe button. So not only will you not miss any episodes, but that we can help add a dose of inspiration to your journey on living an organized life. And before we get into today's tip, I just want to let you know a couple of things that are going on here at Simply Be Organized in the next couple of weeks. So first of all, for anybody that's listening out there that is either currently a professional organizer, or maybe you're thinking about, this might be something that I would want to do. Maybe I have an interest in helping other people get organized. Maybe this is something that comes really naturally to me. Maybe my kids are going back to school or starting school, and I'm looking to try to find something that I can do that's going to serve other people and help them. And I can flex it during the hours that they're out of the house, and I could be out of the house. And professional organizing is a great career to do that. It's what started me. The flexibility and the passion is what started me on my journey almost 15 years ago. And obviously it's taken me in tons of different directions than I ever even could have imagined at the time. So we're going to be hosting a free webinar, and it is on September 20th, and it's a Wednesday evening that we're going to be doing it East Coast time. I think it's at like 7:00, but we'll be recording it because I know that for a lot of people, depending on where you live, that could either be the throes of dinner time or bedtime or whatever it is. So if you are interested in this, we're going to be talking about 5 different ways that you can make money as a professional organizer. I'm going to share some personal stories of kind of my own, like, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, why, and just leave you with some thoughts of ways that you could either elevate your current business or maybe launch into a new business venture for yourself. So maybe, again, if you're never been an entrepreneur, but you're like, I'm thinking about this, but the whole entrepreneurial business side of things is intimidating or overwhelming, you definitely want to sign up. It's a limited amount of people. I'm limiting it to 100 people because I want to be able to have a little bit of interaction. This is not pre-recorded. You're going to be able to actually ask questions, and I will be moderating that. And if you, again, so if you're interested, it's totally free. Just sign up. We'll have the link in the show notes. It's also on our website. And again, there's only a limited number of spots. So if you're interested, make sure you sign up, and we will send the replay to anybody that is registered. So even if you can't make the live call. Okay. I think that's pretty much what we have going on here in terms of planning and things that on that front. So let me get into today's tip. So one of the things that I've been actually came up with this idea over something that was happening in our life currently. So last month, my older daughter moved from, she graduated college, many of you know, and she just moved to her first apartment. And it was, her big first full on adulting excursion, like post college, the whole nine. Very exciting. Another kind of milestone for her. I said, you're going to want to have renter's insurance. And again, like many young adults, they kind of just like shoo their mother away and don't really think much of it. And then, unfortunately, a few days after her move, we got a call from some good family friends of ours who, thankfully, nobody was hurt, but there was a fire and an explosion in a barn on their property. And the people that were friends with the homeowners, as well as the people who were renting the property, and the barn dwelling had all of their personal stuff in it for work. And unfortunately, our friends who were the renters did not have renter's insurance. And so not only did they lose all of those things, which obviously is just devastating, but they did not have any of it covered. So everything that had to be replaced, and it was, like I said, the majority of stuff was stuff that he used for work. And because of that, it all had to be replaced because it wasn't wants, it was needs. And so it was something that really would have been devastating regardless, wound up being 10 times more devastating because now there's no insurance money to help recoup any of that lost stuff. Again, thankfully, our friends who own the property have homeowners insurance because there was some other peripheral damage that would definitely encompass. But for many people, when they are moving, when you think of a house, you think of getting insurance. But oftentimes when you're in an apartment, you might not think about that, especially if you're young. I'm not trying to stereotype people, but if this is partially is you don't know what you don't know. And the other thing is you might think, I don't have a lot of stuff, or what's going to possibly happen? I'm living in a high rise building or I'm living here. And, if I'm not renting, in the middle of nowhere, what could possibly happen? But anything from floods to fires to break-ins, I mean, you name it, anything can happen at any time. And so I circled back with my daughter and I said, hey, like, this is what happened to our friends because she knows them. And of course she was like, oh my gosh, is everybody okay? And yes, thankfully they were. And I said, they did not have renter's insurance. She's like, oh my gosh, you were just talking to me about that. So that catapulted her into saying, can you please look into it? And here's the interesting thing. I said, I take that back. I said, I'll look into it for you. So I said, let me just start by going to who we have our homeowners insurance with and get an estimate for you. Because I already had that. Like she didn't know, and I could have told her and she absolutely would have done it, but it was so easy for me. I was ready to just like log in and help. So I went in, put in her address, an estimate, and I did a comparison with another insurance company because we have different auto insurance with our homeowners insurance, and wound up getting her and her roommates or finding a policy that covered like $15,000 worth of damage, which again, you're talking about young post-college kids probably don't have a ton of stuff of value, more than covers it. And it cost $84 for the entire year. So I actually gifted it to her as a housewarming gift. She was going to pay for it. She's like, okay, we could pay $7 a month or prepay for the year. And I just said to her, you know what? I'm going to gift this to you for the first year as a housewarming gift. But for anybody that wants to say, hey, you need to start working that muscle, I was able to do that and give her all the information. She had to complete it so that she was, again, doing the adulting thing. But it was really important that she understood where things were, the weather policy was, how to use it, how to access it. And I had a similar situation with my younger daughter with her car insurance. And so all of these things kind of happen simultaneously in our world. So I said, you know what? I think it's really important for us to do an episode, and it could just be a tip of the week episode about making sure that you have all of your updated insurance information. So again, whether that means, have you had changes to your policy? Anything that's going to be changed, if you've had any additions, if you've needed to add anything to your insurance, let's say you have an expensive piece of artwork or expensive jewelry or something has changed, you're going to want to make those changes. Same with your coverage on your auto insurance. These are the things that we just kind of sometimes get them and then we put them on autopilot. Life insurance. If you're looking at your life insurance, you want to make sure if there has been any like major life changes that you've updated your beneficiaries, because again, those are legally binding documents. I've seen and heard of stories of people getting divorced and they got life insurance 10, 15 years ago and, just never, they pay their annual policy or premium or whatever and never changed the beneficiary. And it was their ex-spouse. So that is a legally binding document, people. So I encourage you, once a year. And if you haven't done it in a while, now's a great time to start. There's no reason to wait to the first of the year. Again, we're in the beginning of September, always a great reset time. Go in and look at anybody that you have insurance with. Again, that's homeowners insurance, renters insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, all of those things. Make sure your stuff is accurate. Make sure all the information is there, is up to date, because really, what you don't want to happen is you to have to need it and be in that crisis mode and then find out that something is out of date, not current, you're out of policy, whatever it is. And so nowadays you can access so many things digitally very easily. You can get insurance card, through apps and whatnot, but just make sure that you have all of the current updated information at your fingertips. So again, that is my tip. Is look at all of your insurance policies, go through them, make sure that the other people in your household, if they're adults, know where things, what's what, and where things are, so that people know in the state of a crisis, whether it's a car accident, a flood, God forbid, any of these things, we know where to go to get this information. So that's it, guys. I'll be back next week with another tip of the week. Thursdays, we'll be back with our long form episodes. If you're liking these tips of the weeks, would you please do me a huge favor, or do us, our entire team here, and go into Apple Podcasts, if that's where you're listening, and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really, really does help other people find our show. Does help with the algorithms, getting our show out there. So please, it's really an easy, simple, free way for you to be able to just support our show. And we really, really appreciate it. And again, if you're out there and you are thinking, hey, this might be something I might want to do, or I'm not sure about it, sign up for our webinar and, listen to my story and some of the things that have been really successful for me that might be of interest to you, and other things that maybe I'm not doing, but that still might be of interest to you that other people have done. It's a great way. It's a great way. If have that entrepreneurial spirit, if you want to control your work day, your workflow, how much money you're making, how you're impacting the world, how you're showing up for people. I love what I do, and I love supporting other people to do it. So please sign up for the free webinar. And until then, I'm Lori Palau. Have a great day. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please spread the love and share it with your friends. And if this is your first time joining us, make sure to click the subscribe button wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, please leave us a review so other people know that our show is worth the listen. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram at This Organized Life Podcast. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can head on over to our website at simply the letter B like boy organized.com, which is filled with tons of resources, including free downloads, checklists, links to our amazing organizing partners, and all of our digital offerings. I'll see you next week for another episode of This Organized Life.